What's up, guys? It's Jason for this week's report or VR report. It's a little bit later just because I was going through different news, pieces of news, and just nothing really fit for this week. So it's just going to be like a pretty broad topic um, based off of conversations that I had in my contemporary business management course. So I'm going to start off with a little Re60 update. I'm just now finishing my edits for the Puerto Rico rope swing day, so hopefully that will be fine. It's been a while since I've edited for Re60, so still kind of just remembering everything. Other updates. Oh, so I throw my best Re60 videos onto an app called VR TV. They have an application for it and a web browser app. And they're awesome with their developer relations. They sent out 10 of these to me. They're just like Google Cardboard, so you just put it up right up to your face. Open it up, put your smartphone in there. I mean, they're just 9 extra ones that I don't really need. So if you want one and you're in Providence, let me know and I'll hook you up with one. And that's it for Re60. So this topic, it was brought up because we talked about how the workplace is going to change based off of the lifestyle and culture of millennials. I'm going to start off by saying I am not a millennial. No matter what you say, factually, I'm actually in Generation Z. Generation Z is from 1996 to 2010, and me being born in 97, I am a Generation Z, not a millennial. I'm at the start of Generation Z. Well, I mean just a year, but that's where I'm going to be talking about how the workplace will change. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the video on Facebook about the guy that talks about millennials. So I might dip my toes into a couple things that he says, but most of this stuff is going to be related towards VR. So I guess I'll start off again by saying I'm not a millennial. We are actually Generation Z. We've had, in our earlier years, we've had exposure to the landline age, having the issue of figuring out who was going to hang up first. And then 2007 is when things really changed. We're going through this technological revolution, and that was one of the shifting points of bringing everything, all the information that's being collected, right in our hands and right in our pockets. We are the generation where we're the only generation, those who were born a year before me, a couple years after me, where technology really made this shift during our formative years. And I think, and I know for a fact that because of that shift during our years of really trying to figure out how we're going to learn, what we're going to learn, how we access information, it's going to be huge for when we get that degree, or maybe you don't want to get a degree, that's your choice. But how we're going to really find tomorrow's solutions, based on the resources that we've created for ourselves. Because the shift was during our formative years, it really changed how we think, how we perceive the world, and how we can access that information. So I guess I'll go more into the later part of the generation. Those were born essentially out of the 90s, those who were born between 2000 and 2010. I think that's what a lot of companies view Generation Z. I think there's still that overlap of still classifying them as millennials just because they're growing up during the shift. There won't be a need for pacifiers in the future. The smartphone will replace the pacifier. It's changed just how just how people's parenting styles have changed, because of this essential outlet, out of reality. Um, when parents don't want to watch over their kids right now, or they don't really feel like babysitting or pampering to their every need, they just throw their phone, let them buy a game, and then call it a day. And while it is an issue, it's going to help them figure out solutions for tomorrow. Tomorrow being in the next couple decades, just because they're having this exposure to technology, and they'll be able to indicate what the problems are with current technologies to pursue. You can see this in the education system, how STEM is becoming a huge part of the curriculum. Students are in elementary school learning how to code on iPads, program robots. So that everything's shifting to within this revolution. Who knows how far in it we are, where it's going to go. Hopefully, by the time that VR hits mainstream and mass adoption, we will be hopefully halfway through, because there's still more advancements that we can make. So the biggest issue that I have with this generation having a pure reliance and almost a dependence on technology is, so we experienced the iPhone in our formative years, but today's current elementary schoolers are going to experience the VR adoption for their formative years. And it is a little bit concerning, because in science fiction, they've depicted the future as all of us just walking around with these, somehow figure out how to walk. But that is where reality is heading, and we have resorted to these pieces of technology in our own attention economy. I listened to a webinar about what the attention economy is, and it's people finding sole value in the amount of likes they get, subscribers they get on YouTube. It's just that kind of stuff. We're almost changing the different values away from monetary values of what it means to be satisfied in life. A lot of millennials, the older millennials, who are about in their early 30s about right now, you're seeing the shift in how their attention is just based off of where they work. More people are branching off in their own companies. They're tired of the standard suit and tie job at a corporation. They would, I read an article on Forbes saying how millennials are the generation that they'd rather go out and travel, live the life they want to live, even if it takes, even if it means taking that the cut in their paycheck. They're willing to make that move. So bringing it back into VR, how does this tie into VR? Companies are more, the bigger media companies like Facebook are investing in social VR experiences, workplaces in VR, and soon we're not going to be calling applications of VR experiences anymore. It's just going to be the standard of applications. The baby boomers generation, I think it's X is right after the baby boomers, they're all viewing their VR experiences as VR experiences. But we want to really push for the idea that it's not going to be just an experience, it's going to be a lifestyle. With social VR experiences becoming more and more realistic, with eye tracking, emoticon reading, this is going to be the new outlet for stress, depression, anxiety. They're going to be able to find these online hubs where you take a group very similar, just like a group of gamers talking about the game that they've played, or actually playing it together. The shift is pushing, the shift to these social experiences on VR are coming pretty quickly, and you look at the very first model of the iPhone, and then you look at where it is today. Despite a couple of years where the innovation has not been as great, but it's definitely just a huge leap within 10 years. This is the 10th year anniversary of iPhone. Let's see what big things they're going to do with it. But, in a sense, we are losing our humanity as we've allowed technology to kind of change how we think. But it's not always a bad thing. We in terms of how we think, how we develop our thoughts, where we get our information from, we're pretty much cyborgs. Technology is that source of information that we can always rely on. And although physically we're not being robots, our brains are changing based on how we're transmitting information. But it's not always a bad thing. That's what I'm getting to. I guess to kind of close my thoughts, because I don't want to make this too long, I will finish off by saying you cannot end this revolution. It's going to be happening. Either you're going to adapt to it, or you're just not going to make it. I'm personally in the boat that thinks that VR jobs are going to be huge. Conference calls will be made in VR. Social VR, the headset and the social hub will replace the movie theater hangout area that teenagers are known to hang out. At least when I was in middle school and high school, I'd hang out at the movie theater. And I guess the paradox of where we are in VR is that right now it's very isolated. Besides the PlayStation VR, you can kind of see what they're doing on the TV, but right now it's kind of an isolated experience. But kind of look out how Facebook has changed. Facebook once was I'm just going to post about my day, about how I'm feeling, what I'm going to do over the weekend. It was just all about my, just to share out to everyone. And now look at it. You can buy whatever's on that marketplace. It's like eBay. You can set events with people. Groups are huge. Businesses collaborate on Facebook. So if you see how Facebook has shifted from it's all about me, people can see it, kind of like in VR, to where Facebook is now. That's kind of where I'm shooting my projections for where social VR will go in the next 10, 15 years. Although with how technology keeps getting more advanced, and especially in the VR industry where more VCs are putting more money into it, it looks very optimistic. And companies are going to have to adjust that for when Gen Z starts getting into the career fields in the next 2-3 years. So that's what I was thinking about all week. And because a lot of people don't know about VR, I did not want to share it in my class. So I'm just going to share it to all you lovely people. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Generation Z, millennials, and this technological revolution, and where VR kind of fits in there. So if you like what I'm thinking, I'd love to continue this discussion and conversation about where we are going to be heading with these new generations and technologies that have been embedded into their formative years. So let's keep up the conversation on Twitter, Facebook, @Rejuvenation. I'll have the links in the bio. Yeah, thank you for watching the VR Report.